Around with the foot and the needle and the thread and stuff, and I thought that I would try a accent on there, which is this one, and it's a 12 weight thread, so it's quite visible, but it's also got that really nice rayon gloss to it, so I'm hoping that it works nicely for me. It's going to be a nice one for doing the applique, so I'll be using this all the way through. I'm also going to use it, I won't be using it for the joining, but I will be using it, I'm going to do some simple applique, quilting, sorry, I can't even get my words right today, and but I might do the quilting in a finer thread, so I won't use it in that as such.
Pat says hi. Melissa
hi
says
Pat,
hi.
how you going?
Melissa says hi.
So I sort of had a bit of a test run on, because sometimes this machine doesn't like certain things, and it's nothing to do with the quality of anything other than the machine just doesn't, you know, one just not like it. And if I use it in the quilting, I think that it'll be really quite thick, so I'll show you what I mean and you can sort of judge for yourself. Now when you're doing this, and I've got my top, which is the applique, then I've got some wadding and it's a little bit bigger, and then I've just grabbed some scrap for the back of it, and that's it there, and I've made that about the same size as the wadding. Now with this, what we want to make sure is that we don't quilt any further than about here. We want to give us a ½ inch between the top of this and where we're going to start, like where we're going to quilt, and there's a reason for that. That's what we need. We need that area to join. So fingers crossed that she works nicely, and I'm hoping that I can just do a really nice, you know, open swirl. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to swap to a rasant and just do it that way. So hi everybody, how are you all? Oops, today, see, it even just started then. I might even, I reckon, I just know this machine, I know it so well. On my other one it'd be fine, but I think on this one I might just swap straight over to the RA. I know I should be organised for you, but I'm not. I'm going to just pop that over there, and I'm going to get my RA, what am I calling them? Rasant, sorry, which I've got inside, so I'll grab a new reel. Yeah, I've only got greys here. Oh, the light goes a bit. That's a white, that's a cream. I really need a white, don't I? So let me just have a quick squeeze in here. I can try this one again, see if it wants to be nice to me. This is also a Wonderfeel, but it's a 50 weight, I think. It's a confetti. Yep, 50 weight, so that one might work better. So I'll give that one a whirl. See if she plays nice with me today. I might do the bobbin before I get moving. So if you're going to join along with me and do this, you want to have your applique or your block ready. You can do it at the same time as me, I don't mind. And I'll just run you by step. So
Pat's just said, my son, that I better go do my class like a good girl, so she must be.
Say that again.
My son, that I better go do my class like a good girl.
Oh, he said that to you. He's told her to go and do her class like a good girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not getting my shorthand. Oh well, yep.
You with it now?
Yep.
Yeah, go.
Jenny said hello back again.
Who's that?
Jenny Power.
Oh, g'day Jenny. How you going? Yeah, so I'm just swapping it to this bobbin. like I say, if I was on my 14,000, I'd be happier. But even though she's a workhorse, she can be a little bit temperamental, the old girl. So, and I have given her a hard time over the years. I did have little scissors here somewhere. And so she does tend to get a bit grumpy with me if I give her the wrong stuff.
Beck was asking, what are your gloves for?
My gloves are my quilting gloves. So these gloves, not only do they keep my hands semi-warm, they also avoid those hot flushes that I get. They make me put my hands down nice and flat when I quilt, so I don't get the tension that you get in your neck when you're quilting. And they just slide on and off. They're my quilting gloves. So I'm a distributor for them. So if you're interested in the gloves, just send us a PM. And they're $36 a pair. As far as I know, it hasn't gone up much. What?
Oh, just Pat replying. Sorry, Dottie, mine is always missing words.
Oh, yeah, it does. That's all right.
Okay.
I'm used to it now.
Fine.
I'm really used to it now. I'll just have to adjust my tension back to what I had it on. It might be a bit tight for that bobbin now. See how I go. She sounds a bit gritty. Oh, had it on the speed for the bobbin. Don't you hate it when you do that? I do it all the time. Do you ever do that?
I do.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Well, no, it's my machine is set.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, the bobbin tension
It's still
is set.
too bleeding
Speed, sorry.
fast. And it looks like it's too tight. Alright, slow her down a bit. She's a bit crazy. And I'm just going to cut off and tighten up my bobbin. So has anyone ever had to tighten up their bobbin or had issues? You look at the top of the thread. If you have a look at it, you can see see how I can see the bobbin coming up there? So I need to adjust my bobbin case. So I just adjusted it before to loosen it, but it needs to be tightened. So I'm going to go righty-tighty. I'm going to go to about there. I'm going to put the bobbin back in its case before I put it in the machine. And I can still feel that's quite loose. It's not too bad, but I just might do that fraction bit more. Because my machine cops a lot of beating, so do my bobbin cases. So I've got a lot of dust in there, and I always tell people not to do what I just did. No foofing into your bobbin area. Get your little brush and get in there. Now pop her in. Click. That's what we want. Needle down, needle up. So Confetti has a poly core, I'm pretty sure of. Confetti, cotton, Egyptian cotton, and I think it's got a poly core which can give it its strength. Just make sure my table's on properly. I can grab that. No, can't grab that. My hands are so cold, I can't grab anything. Dottie and I were talking about it a minute ago, going, how cold is it here? And I've got the heater on full bore, and it's quite chilly. So I'm going to start in a different area. I'll come back to that other area later. So pop it under there. And remembering to keep my stitching at least ½ an inch away from the edge of the fabric. So needle down, needle up, bring up my bobbin. And the beauty with these gloves, Beck, is that you can actually change your thread. If you notice, I didn't have to take my gloves off all the time and not have to stress over it. Okay. That's them on the base, and that's the top. And they just slide on and off. And one size pretty much fits all. All right. That's a better looking stitch, isn't it? So we're just going to do a random sort of stipply sort of thing, just keep it reasonably big, just to get this done. And if you notice, I use the same colour in the bobbin as I am on the top, not necessarily the same type of thread, just a little bit of a stop there, but definitely the same colour. Now, because this thread's 50 weight, it's going to sort of sit above the fabric a bit more, whereas they're really tiny threads, you know, the 80 weights and 100 weights, they'll really sink in. And because this is a small piece, it's hard for me to hang on to, so if I get a few creases in that, I'll just deal with it as I go. I'm not stressing too much. I can hear it tapping. Can you hear that tap, tap, tap underneath? That really light tap. That's the sizing in the batik fabric. Sounds like when you stitch over paint. I'm just going to rearrange this so I've got a better grip. And there's quite a bit of sizing in that. It's even got some wax still in it too, so it sort of gets a bit stuck. Just put that down. So I'm just keeping away from the edge because I want to make sure that that edge has got enough room for me to put a seam in. I can always come back and fill in any gaps if I've got any. Alright, so I'm just going to stitch all the way around this, so I'll try and do it as quick as I can so I don't bore you to tears.
Pat said, "Will I send you some warmth, ladies? No jumper here." Where's Pat from?
Queensland.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah, nice and warm. Yeah, it's a bit sad when they're saying we're going to have a nice warm day of 13. You know you're in winter then. You see my applique is sort of sitting up a bit, and that's because I haven't stitched it down yet, and I'm stitching all around it, which will make it puff forward. That's okay, I can come back and do that. I'm not really stressed over it. You don't have to do your applique first. It's a little bit harder when you don't, but it is doable. And if you notice, I haven't done the stems or anything of the flowers. I'm going to actually do them over the top of the quilting.
Oh, we are 23 degrees now.
Oh, that is cold for you.
And Stella says it's 22 here.
Ah.
But that's because the heaters are on. Tricky.
Yeah.
Mere Jindabyne top of 8 today, a very grade A. Jenny Power.
Yeah, a top of 8. Yeah, I think that's it. We've got the sun out, but it's still quite chilly. We've got that Arctic freeze factor, I think, here. Yeah, it's very frosty and cold.
Carolyn 7.5 feels like 2.5. That's here.
Yeah,
Well, it sounds like here, doesn't
that's
it?
what it's like here. Yeah, it'll say 13, but it'll feel like 10.
That's it. Okay, I haven't owned a heater for many years. Don't need them here.
No, you wouldn't. Just going to move my fabric around so I can see what I'm doing. So you can see that the applique is starting to puff up a little bit. Like I say, once I go in and stitch that around, it'll all sit down nice and flat. And I'm going to do my leaves and that over the top of the quilting, just because I can. I don't know what that little black thing is there, but it needs to go away. I can't get rid of it because I'm in the middle of quilting. It's just jumping around there.
That looks so cool, says Pat.
It is cool, and it's not hard. And I'm not going a million miles per hour. I'm just ticking along. So when you do any quilt as you go, you do all the stitching in your blocks and everything first, and then you're going to do the actual joining. It's almost the last thing besides binding. So we'll get to do a little bit of applique today. I mean, you can do it after, but it sort of defeats the purpose of the whole quilt as you go thing. The idea is to only have one block under your machine at a time, and that way making it easier for you to manipulate and move. You can see I'm going to get some bubbling over here. I'm just going to move my sheet around and get my hands under there. Oh, I think I just broke something, my needle or thread or something. Oh, I did. I don't know what it caught on. Did you hear the bang? Don't know what that was. I'm going to check the bobbin as well because I can. I should. Yeah, the bobbin's attached. I'll just take that off. Still. Come here, little bugger. Yeah, it's still got tension on it. It's all good. I don't have to check it. It's got tension on it. It's all good. Alrighty, I might have pulled it too far forward. It might have clipped something. Pulled the needle. I'm holding this. Oh no, I wasn't holding it, was I? Oh no, it's not pulling up that bobbin. So we'll have a look. Yeah. Looks alright to me. Okay, that's what it should do. More friendlies. You see my mat's got sticky tape on it. I've stitched through it. I've cut through it. I've done all sorts of things to the poor thing. Alright, let's try again. Needle 8 up. No. Be nice to your mummy. Come out. I need you out where I can hold you. Alright, down. There we go. Let's get it out of the way now. Alrighty, let's try again. 24, watching. How many? 24. 84? 24. Oh, God, I was going to say. That's nice. We've got 24 viewers. When was it? Was it today or yesterday? Today we had 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good number, isn't it? So I'm just quilting around the edge of this applique.
Pat's saying that's where I went wrong with my grandson's quilt many years ago. I sewed all the stripes together, only sewed
Oh, the strips, yeah.
Oh, the strips, okay. Only sewed where I joined the strips together.
Oh, okay. So once I get this quilted around, I'm then going to join them. I'll do some of the applique after I've joined them, if I've got time, just so you can see some of the applique done, the raw edge applique. But yeah, I just wanted to get this quilted just because of the fact that it's a quilt as you go, for you guys to see. And like I said, one hand is flat, the other one is just holding on to the edge of the fabric, just so I've got a little bit of control, because I can't get my whole hand there.
Jackie's back.
Hi Jackie, how you going?
This is so relaxing.
Who said that?
Jackie.
I'm glad you're nice and relaxed and enjoying it. Might have that up too high again, just turn it back. So normally I'd have my machine set on around about 6.5 with a result thread, but each thread will create its own sort of thing. So sometimes you've got to adjust that top tension, not just your bobbin, just to accommodate for that thread. So not all machines are, equal and the same. So every machine, even if it's the same brand, same model, they will all be a bit different, a little bit like a car. And sometimes you just have to deal with it, you know what I mean? Like just adjust it. Don't be frightened to adjust it. If it's looking like a straight line on the back, then you need to adjust the top. Like whatever's happening on the top, you need to adjust from the back. So you just have a look what it's doing. It's always the reverse. So if it's happening on the front of your fabric, it'll be something to do with your bobbin. If it's happening on the back of your fabric, it'll be something to do with the top tension.
Hi again from Jenny. You are such a busy person.
Oh, I am at the moment, Jenny, yeah. I was just talking to Dot about doing one live demo every week. If you guys would be interested in that, I presume you're going to say yes. As well as the one live sale, because I think that would help people, and you can put in your requests, what you'd like. So I've quilted that now. Obviously this is not done, and I'll just snip off that stray thread. Because I've done all those little knots when I started, I don't have to bury them. And being a sample piece, I don't bury them anyway. I only bury them on customers' quilts. Alright, so she's ready to go to the next step. Now, this is where it gets highly technical.
So what is the best weight thread to use for this Gidget?
Okay, so 40 or 50 weight for top stitching quilting. I'm going to try and use some accent thread in this. I'll see how she goes. It depends on your machine and what they like. But that is a 50 weight. So a result thread will do the same. Just a cotton thread there, just to get that nice quilted look. And like you can see, I've just done a simple stipple. Nothing exciting. These you can use rayons, you can use poly, you can use anything you like. And when you're doing your applique, if you want it shiny, then you use a rayon, or a poly sheen, or you're wanting to do just a flat colour, then you might use your resance or something that's flat like this Egyptian one.
Yes, I'm interested in learning more. Yes, because we are a bit addicted.
Yeah, I know. You might have to pull, you might have to pull the charger out, and we'll go over here. Oh, yeah, because I might need the blade. So we're going to go over here to my messy cutting area, because I've got stuff everywhere today. So bear with me in my mess. Okay, so now what you want to look at is what you're going to join it to. So say that's going to be my next block. Obviously it's a bit bigger and I'll cut it down later. But I want this to sit backwards, right? And I'm going to want the back to sit backwards because I'm going to need to cut this. But first of all, I want to join this onto here. Now theoretically this would be stitched, so just while you're, let's put some elevator music on. I'm just going to go and stitch just about down here. Look at that, nice beautiful stitching, yada yada yada, and it's now stitched and quilted. It's going to make a horrible look, but anyway, you get the idea. So that's going to be my quilted piece. Alright, so this one will be completely quilted and it's got to join up to that one. So I did that just so that you can see you've got two quilted pieces, okay? Great type of quilt to use scrap bits of these, and you use your tape, you know, the tape, the batting tape to join your bits on and stuff. Good to use scrap bits. So you get little bits like this and you join them on with your batting tape. Fantastic for that. You will need a big pair of scissors, then I've got to grab the others, as well as your blade. And I'm going to need to change my foot on my machine, but what I do is I join the front. So if I join the back, then I'm going to have to put a what's the name on? What do they call it? A border thing. What do they call them? Sashing to cover it. That thing. All right. So I'm going to join these, but to get a good visual on it, I need to pin back. So on this one, I'm going to pin back these and just pin those back out of the way. So I've only got that exposed, just out there. And with this one, turn her over, pin it back. So I've just got that edge exposed. Okay, all right, so they're there like that. Now you're going to put right sides together. Yeah? And in this instance, please pin. Now, a lot of us are tempted not to. I don't normally pin a lot of the time, but with this, because you've got pressure pulling and pushing from top and bottom, you really, really need to have it pinned just to stop, because you see how it's going to do the wavy thing, and you don't want it, if you're pulling on it as well as the fabric being pulled from left and right at the back and front, then you're going to end up with these wavy seams. It's going to look bloody awful. So to get a nice seam, you really need to pin. I know it's a pain in the backside, but you're better doing that. It's the old story, you know, measure twice, cut once. So I don't know how far I went up there. I might just put one up the corner there.
I did sunbonnet Sue for my oldest granddaughter, but I didn't know to quilt around her. Pat.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep, there you go. So let's go around here. Now, I need to change that to a walking foot, so, or just a normal foot. No, not. Oh, my God. Hang on, let me just lock the machine so I don't stitch my finger into it. Where's my normal foot? Buried in there somewhere. Amongst all this, there it is. It's a walking foot. Now, that means it wants extra weight behind it. You don't have to use your walking foot. You can just use any old normal foot. I'm not really keen actually. I might see if I've got my other foot here. Like I say, I tend to take a whole heap into the house, and then I've got nothing up here. Oops, caught on thread. There we go, normal foot. That's alright. Just pop him up there out of the way. Lift up my foot. Put the normal foot on. That way it won't give me grief. So now I'm going to tighten that up. Once you tighten up finger tight, all you need to do is this is the same with your needle, and then give it one shove. I've just changed the needle, hence the reason why it's working nicely now. I'm going to move my needle back to the center. All right, so then I know how much distance I've got from here. This is not a 1/4 inch foot. I know that if I have that in the center, because I know my machine, and I have the edge of the fabric here, right, just on the inside of that line there, then I know I've got roughly a 1/4 inch. And if I use the same, roughly 1/4 inch, in the whole quilt, then it's going to be the same the whole way through. I'm not going to have large and small ones. Yeah? Does that make sense? So
You would have shot me.
what?
You would have shot me with how I did my grandkids' quilts. No wonder they are falling apart now.
Oh, look. Do you know what? I mean, it's no biggie. Oops, I've got to put the feed dogs up. People, you learn, and we learn the hard way sometimes. Some people have to learn the hard way. Some people want to learn, other ways straight from the start. So, before you chew my fabric. Thank you. So I'm just going nice and steady, and I've got the fabric just inside that line. See how that has just jumped forward? I've got to grab that there, just pull it out a little.
I might come around the other side.
You might be able to see it. Careful, don't trip over. And you can see it's starting to push, so I never ever pull this way, because you will end up, you can see it's starting to do sorts of things over there. You just let it feed in. If you try and pull it in and out and all around, you're better off doing a second seam than you are pulling at it or undoing it and redoing it again. You don't want to stretch it out of shape. That's I see that a lot when I do people's quilts. I see that a lot. If you're not sure about this 1/2 inch, leave an inch. It doesn't matter, because you're going to come back and you're going to sew it down anyway. I don't know how far I've gone. There we go. That'll do.
Yes, Pat, but grandkids love them to death, don't they?
Correct. Exactly.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And Wendy is watching. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. So you can see how it's got a little bit of a Mexican way, and it's gone off a bit there. See that? That's because I haven't given myself enough room. Sorry. Just get my fingers out of there. So I would really like to come back in and grab that, because that's going to make an issue in the quilt if I was to continue on as a quilt. See how it wants to go back in again? So I'm sort of forcing it to stay straight, giving it a bit of a fight. I've probably got my tension on the wrong thing because I haven't changed it. That doesn't help. Even at the start there it was a bit wonky. But anyway, so then what you do is you fold it over. Alright, take out those. Actually, I might put those other ones back in for a sec. Just put them back in here, just to hold that down so you can see what I'm doing. Is the iron on? Good question. Yes, it is. Alright, so let's just take this over to the iron. My messy room at the moment, so I have to apologise. It's like a... is it on? No, it's not. Is it? No, yes. Are you on? Please tell me you're on. Oh. Yep, she's on. Alright, so you then need to put that over to one side. Don't split it down the middle. I know you want to, but don't. We're not making dresses. Alright, these are plastic. Okay, I'm going to take it out and move it that way, and that one as well. Otherwise I'll have plastic all over my iron. So And that's a glass head one, so it should be okay. So press it down, and you don't have to do, you can finger press it if you want to with a little roly doodah, which I probably will do on the other side. Okay, so then I'm going to turn her over, and look, you've joined together. Okay? Now, we're not finished yet. We've still got more to do. We're going to take this back over to this cutting area. Dolly's going to follow me everywhere I go today. All right. Now, probably took out one side and I shouldn't have put them back. Sorry. I keep redoing things. All right, so I'm going to start with this side. So I want to cut my backing and my wadding, right? These ones here, this one first. So the wadding is going to be first. So I'm going to fold that back. See how I got that back? I've left that out. So I'm going to pin that down just to hold it still. Nothing major. Then I'm flipping them out like that. Now I'm going to cut that wadding a 1/4 inch bigger so it meets here. Okay, does that make sense? Because that would have been 1/2 inch, so I'm going to cut it about here all the way there. So I'll just turn that. Hopefully my ruler will play nice with all that bulk underneath. I've lost my blade. I've buried it. There it is. Alright, so because I've got the pins in, I've got to have to hold the ruler at an angle, so it's going to look a little bit wonky, but it'll give me a rough idea. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side. So I'm going to take that out, put that down, flip that out like that. Actually, hang on, make that under, silly woman, under there, like that. Keep it out of the way. And it's going to have to be a little bit more, so I'm wanting it to be about there. So what I'm going to do is just mark it with a pin, grab it, so it's like that. So I need to come up to that point there. Make sure everything is out of the way. For God's sake, don't leave make sure your quilt, all you've got there is wadding, and all the rest of your pieces are out of the way, underneath on the other side of you. So all I've got under here is wadding. So if that piece had been completely straight and I had done the right thing by my second piece, this should go well. But I know I haven't, so let's give it a whirl. See what we can do. Then we flip it back. Theoretically, they should meet up nicely. Alright, so one should not overlap, it should just butt up. So that looks like I need to take a little bit more off that one. So you can do this by blade or by scissors. Scissors, it gets a little bit like a hack job, like you're hacking at it. You know, like cutting a pizza. So I'll just take that little bit off there. Now, make sure that is under. And I want these to butt up. See how that's starting to butt up? Just nicely. If it's not quite enough, I'll just tweak it. Just means my wadding was on an angle. See how that's quite an angle? That's because this one wasn't straight. So we're just going to pretend that it was. The other thing, if you do cut out too much, you can put in like a little slither. So that little slither there, I could actually pop that under there, just like that. Pop that back in there. Doesn't need to be up here. And it's all good. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Any questions?
When I joined, this is Pat, when I joined my quilt, I used cotton quilt top and 3 layers of flannel. Didn't know I had trimmed some of it off, just sewed it all together.
Okay.
thick seam had to sew. I pulled it through.
It's okay. As long as it works, Pat, it's okay. So that's how I want them to go. So I'm just going to pick this little booger up, keep him. Now, what we did with this, we're going to now do with this. But I don't want to take as much off. What I want to do is have about 1/2 inch, and the reason being is because I need to turn it over. So I want one there, and then the other one's going to come out over, and we're going to turn it under like that. All right. So what we're going to do is, first things first, let's cut this side. Not a lot. I know my seam is there. Where is it? There, way up here. So it's going to be level with that. So I need to just come out about 1/2 inch from that there. So take that stuff off there, and then turn it around. Grab this one, and I want it to be more than 1/2 inch from the edge of the wadding. I want it to be 3/4 inch. So I've got, or even 1 inch you could do. So I've got a little bit of a turnover. So I'm going to do that. It's going to be a bit raggedy because I've got a bit of a gap between the ruler and the mat. All right, so if that's still too much, because you don't want it to be overlapping under there too much, I might take more off. Sometimes you've just got to go, right, I'm in a hurry and I need to do this today, so let's do this. And that should go under there. We get this little darling and we pop him back in there because that's where he belongs. Just in there nicely. That goes down and we take it back over to the iron. This is about the only time I use an iron this much. So I'm just going to flatten that down there. So it's, because I've been folding it back, it's got quite a crease in it. So I flatten that back. Got that in there, just sitting nice. This one here, I'm going to fold over and create a seam, edge, just about 1/4 inch. It's a bit wonky, but that's because I just did some random shapes. I didn't measure anything. Then you're going to get this one. Make sure nothing's overlapping, which it's not. It's just butting up. It's going to look thicker to start with until you quilt it. And I'm going to push that down there. So it's starting to flatten out. Now you've got one or two choices. You can slip stitch that closed, or you can quilt it. I would slip stitch it. That's what I did with mine, was slip stitch that down. So that you'd slip stitch, yeah? Hand sewing, yeah. We get someone who loves it, and then that feels normal. That looks just like normal. Feels normal, looks normal. If you don't have this here, you can just keep quilting over there, but what you need to remember is that you will need to glue this down. So if you are going to just quilt over the top of all that, all right, then you're going to need to quilt to glue it down. Otherwise, when it's underneath, you're not going to see it curve, like pick up, you know what I mean, underneath the bottom of the machine. So so you would get your glue. Just stay there, I'll come back 2 secs.
Everybody's gone very quiet.
Hey?
They've all gone quiet.
I think they're concentrating.
Writing things down.
Writing things down, I hope. Yeah, so you get your glue. This is like that sew line glue, but just a cheap Chinese version. You put that down there. I will heat it up to activate it. Just makes it stick a bit better. Okay.
That lays nice and flat, says Pat.
It does, doesn't it? That's it there, and it's not going to pick up as easy. So it's picking up, but not like it did before. If you just make sure it's nice and flat. There, and then you would come in and do your stitching over here. So I'll go and show you that. If you're clever, you can get away without hand stitching it by doing lots of quilting over it, but the chances are that you'll miss a bit, and yeah, you might just have to go along and slip stitch a few places here and there, but nothing major. When you do the quilt as you go, you can also do it where you have one big piece of backing and you just add pieces on to your quilt as you can do it that way too, but that's another lifetime. Okay, so I've got this back on, give her a bit of a turn, needle back over to that side, the stitch I haven't changed. Alrighty.
Feed dogs.
Feed dogs are up, so yeah, they've got to go down. Thank you. Right, I'm just going to bury my thread because I can. You see that? Just make sure she's in the right position. Put down. No, I don't want you underneath. Bury that thread under there. Stop it. So you were trying to have the same quilt pattern over the whole thing, yeah? So that it looks like it's meant to be there. I'm just going to run down this way because I started in a really weird place. Hi Heather.
Very interesting, thanks.
No worries, we're almost done. Hi Margaret.
Enjoying the tutorial.
Good.
Told you this is relaxing.
Did you fall asleep?
No.
Jackie fallen asleep? Yeah.
No. She is mesmerising, Stella. Yes, absorbing this information because our brains don't work that good.
Well, this is why I'm going to keep the videos and put them on YouTube so you guys can come back, look again, all that jazz. I think you can even download them to your computer, I'm not too sure how that works.
Jackie had a few typos. See, my fingers are asleep. Keep it simple, said Gidget. So, if you are clever enough, it doesn't like rotating when you're not supposed to. Alright, so if you're clever enough to keep all your stitching the same, which, you would, then when you turn it over, it just stitches it down. So if I was to continue going, it would just grab that. You wouldn't even know that I haven't sewn that down. Yeah? So you just make sure that you even if you were to go on this side and sort of put a pencil mark or a blue line mark where the seam is, so that you sort of know where you've got to make sure you cover those areas, then that just saves you having to do a whole heap of hand stitching. But look, see, it's done. If you go over those areas enough, you don't have to hand stitch it down at all. Yeah? How cool is that? Lovely.
It's all stitched. So what's time? Nearly 1:30. So I'm going to stop because we're going to try and come back at 2 o'clock. And what was my last tutorial? I can't remember what I said.
Applique. Oh, the next one.
Yeah.
Japanta?
No, we did that yesterday.
No idea.
Anyway, I'll see you with the next one, guys. We didn't get time to do the raw edge applique, but at least you got to learn how to get these to join together nice and neatly. Okay, see you soon. Bye.